Hello and welcome back to LJT MTG, your one-stop shop for anything robot related. I've got a fun video for you today. Jer and I are playing a match. I'm playing four-color affinity and Jer is playing four-color creature combo. We didn't know what the other person was playing before we sat down and started the match, so they end up being pretty interesting games. We're only going to see Jer's POV for this video. And then we actually do have a follow-up video. I wanted to do a little more testing with the Affinity deck. So that video will be coming out on Monday. Hopefully you enjoy the content, and if you do, feel free to leave us a like, comment down below. I'm really interested to hear what people think of Affinity and Highlander, where they would take it. Would you want to be more aggressive? Would you want to be more combo oriented, or potentially like using velocity cards to get a lot of card draw, things like Deadly Dispute, etc. I would love to chat about it in the comments. I'm really interested in developing this archetype. Uh, and then, as always, thanks for watching.
All right, welcome in for my four-color creature combo deck tech. This is a creature combo deck. It's not as much of a hybrid mid-range deck as a bunch of other creature combo decks. The points we have are Thassa's Oracle, Nadu, Tainted Pact, Imp Seal, and Natural Order. Our Natural Order targets are Atraxa and Nadu primarily. Sometimes even paying 4 mana for that stupid bird is enough to win the game. So we have the typical Thassa's Oracle package. We have Tainted Pact, Consult, ways to win the game. Notably, Thassa's Oracle also gives you a way to win the game that turn with Nadu, more deterministically. And we have the usual suspects in the Nadu package. We have Nomads, we have Stoneforge for Shuko, we have Springheart Nantuko, we have Scythecat Cub, Bristly Bill, Sylvan Safekeeper, Skull Clamp, a truckload of creatures with which to target. Sort of tying the room together, we also have Cephalid Illusionist, so Shuko with Cephalid Illusionist or Nomads with Cephalid Illusionist mills our deck. And then we can Dread Return, Thassa's Oracle, milling Narcomoeba and Fate Stitcher to get more creatures if you need them for Dread Return. Along those same lines, we have Hermit Druid, which is another way to just deck ourselves. Hermit Druid is really powerful in this deck because it is a 1-card combo. We have a ton of creature tutors and recursion. So if you have like a particularly tutor heavy or recursion heavy draw, Hermit Druid is often plan A in those matchups, especially if they aren't able to exile it. One of the big advantages I think this deck has is there's just so many powerful routes to win the game. Like you can be like cast Hermit Druid turn 2 and be like, well, if my opponent kills it, then maybe you have like a Spell Seeker to go get a Tainted Pact with your Thassa's Oracle, and you're threatening to win the game on turn 4 if they kill your Hermit Druid. But if they don't kill your Hermit Druid, they just lose. And yeah, I've found it's a really challenging deck to play. There's a lot of like branching tree decisions, but if you get some reps in and sort of learn how the deck plays, I've found it to be really, really powerful, really rewarding, gives you a lot of decisions. A lot of the other cards in the deck are kind of filler pieces. We have a lot of mana dorks. We have a lot of the green creatures that cycle to facilitate both Nadu and Natural Order. We have some value engines like Leovold, Surak. We have a couple interactive pieces. We have some hand attack, a few removal spells, Opposition Agent, Orcish Bowmasters, Emperor of Bones. Kind of funnily, I've won a game in the Thoracle mirror by thoughts using my opponent's Thoracle, then reanimating it with Emperor of Bones, and I can't remember if it was Tainted Pact or Consult, but I Thoracled them with their Thoracle using my Emperor of Bones, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, I think this is a cool deck. I think the advantages over sort of more traditional, more mid-rangey Nadu decks is that your combo matchup is better. You're much faster. You're much better at actually winning the game. I think you're, for those same reasons, you're better against non-blue mid-range decks that probably have a lot of removal instead of trying to grind through removal, which you still can do. You still have a lot of like the value creatures. You're just better at comboing, which is what you want to do in that matchup. And you have combos that are sort of removal agnostic in Thoracle. And but you're probably worse against the blue decks. And so your matchup spread is less flat, but it allows you to attack a bit better. So I've been enjoying this version. I like this version a bit better than the more mid-rangey versions. If it piques your interest, feel free to give it a whirl and let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy the games, and we'll see you for the games as we battle against Trent.
All right, so this is my deck tech for 4-color affinity. I am excited about this deck. I don't exactly know like if 4-color is where you want to be, but I figured I'd try it out first and then maybe dial in on 3-color. My guess is that you're probably gonna want to be at least either Grixis or Jeskai. The pulls into each color are pretty strong. Um, each color combination are pretty strong, but they sort of do different things. So I wanted to try 4-color out just to see if I could sneak in a Glimmer Void, here or there. We're playing 2 Planeswalkers, just Karn and the new Tezzeret. I think both of these are just pretty strong. This deck definitely wants to be pumping out constructs with the Karn, and then Tezzeret is pretty new, but I think finding a 1-mana value artifact and putting it in your hand is pretty valuable. And then like this theoretically could get out of control with some of the 0-cost artifacts, or just like having turns where you draw a couple cards off of Thoughtcast, cast 2 or 3 artifacts, get an emblem, start making robots. For the creature suite, we have 31 artifact creatures, or rather like creatures that either get an artifact or produce an artifact or are an artifact themselves. Generally speaking, the artifact creatures are like, I think, where you really would find different builds of this deck. Like I'm trying out Memnite, Frogmite, Ornithopter, etc. But I could definitely see builds of this archetype where you are less all in on like having really early creature board presence and looking more to play like an inevitability game with your artifacts, leveraging things like Urza or Tinker to get like bigger artifacts to ascertain control of the board state before you start like attacking with your construct tokens, etc. So I'm taking a little bit more of an aggressive approach. Like I guess I kind of modeled this deck after Pauper Affinity. I have a lot of experience with Affinity and Pauper. I have top 8'd a couple of challenges on Magic Online with it. I've played it a lot. I really like the deck. I think it's it can have a lot of play to it depending on which era of Affinity you're talking about. But yeah, so I'm just playing a pretty, like, I'd say I looked at what artifact creatures exist, and I'm playing sort of the best of the best. If it's not an artifact creature, it's something absurd, like Broadside Bombardier. I'm really excited to try out Emissary Escort here. Hold on here. You can see it here. I'm really excited to try out a couple of things from Edge of Eternity's, Emissary Escort being one of them. Another one being the Pinnacle Emissary here. I think there's a lot of space for this warp ability to be really strong. My suspicion is that when you're playing artifacts in Canadian Highlander, you often have turns where you can slot in an extra mana before casting a couple of spells, especially turn one. I could see Pinnacle Emissary warping and then casting like a Mox Opal and an Ornithopter, which turns on your Mox Opal, which lets you play a one drop, or like play patterns like that. So I'm really excited to try it out. I'm also really interested in trying out Rust Harvester here. I think something that adds to your artifact count early in the game, but then also can help you control the board uh, and becomes a threat later on is something that I'm really interested in. It does cost quite a lot, and the prerequisites are that you have artifacts in your graveyard. My thinking is that if your opponent isn't removing your artifacts, you're probably winning. Or if you aren't winning, then you probably need to go back and reevaluate and assess whether or not your game plan is exactly where you want it to be. Um, so my assumption is that I'm going to run into some opposition from my opponent, and I think those games will be the games where Rust Harvester is at its best. It could obviously just be a 1 mana 1/1 menace in certain games, and like it clearly isn't for every matchup. Like this isn't a card that I would necessarily want if I was playing against combo, for example, but I think it's definitely worth giving a try. Everything else is kind of just your regular artifact cards. Tameo being one of the exceptions. Like this produces artifacts, but realistically, the rate on this card is just too good. Like I'm not going to not play it if I'm playing a blue deck, and the artifact that it makes is actually pretty relevant, just as a piece of cardboard. When we move down, we look at in our sorceries and instants. We're only rocking 3 sorceries here, just a couple of draw spells. Voyage Home is a new one from Aether Drift, and then Rise and Shine, just an overrun that also allows me to turn one of my bridges into an early like 4/4 indestructible. I think is somewhere where I really want to be. I think the instants are where I'm really torn between like black, white, and red. I think if you're playing artifacts, you really want to be playing blue. You get a lot of cards that are pretty unique in those slots, things like Urza, or if you end up playing Tinker, as well as the draw spells like Thoughtcast, Thought Monitor, etc. Uh, but things like Deadly Dispute, Reckoner's Bargain, and Fanatical Offering are really enticing in black. But white gets the best removal spells, and you get a second Swords to Plowshares in Dispatch. Red, you're getting Galvanic Blast, as well as things like Quarry Steel Cutter. You get Cranial Rams, so you get basically an extra um, cranial plating. But yeah, to go along with these like sacrifice cards, the Reckoner's Bargains, the Deadly Disputes, I am playing like Blood Fountains, Ichor Wellsprings. Cryogen Relic is a new one that I'm really excited to try out. It's really excellent. Um, and then we're just playing like Nettle Cyst. It honestly, if you looked up like the best artifacts the game has to offer, I've probably included them in this deck. I mean, let me know in the comments down below if I'm missing anything pretty obvious. There's a lot of considerations that I made, so I have seen a lot of different artifacts, and if an artifact isn't in this deck list, then I probably made a considered choice to not include it. Things like Simulacrum Synthesizer, for example. But maybe there's something really obvious that I'm missing. So if you see anything, let me know in the comments. I'm really interested in developing this archetype and seeing kind of where it heads. For enchantments, we're playing in Soul Artifact. I really want the bridge plus make the bridge a big creature synergy present in my deck. In Solar Artifact, Rise and Shine, and Kenku Artificer are also ways to make things like Memnite and Ornithopter into more relevant game pieces. And I think there are a lot of games in Canadian Highlander where just creating an early 5/5 or an early 4/4 indestructible or flying, etc., can be really, really powerful. And then for lands, we're playing Blinkmoth and Inkmoth Nexus, and then every artifact land we could play that is reasonable. You know, we're not playing like Power Depot from Murders at Karloff Manor, and then we're playing fetches and dual lands. I'm not playing any basics, and then we're playing Urza Saga and Inventor Sphere as our like more utility based lands. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Yeah, so shoot me the challenge.
Challenge.
My grift continues. All right, I'm gonna mute.
Die roll one time. Hands great. No notes. We have both. We have Shuko plus Idiot Bird here. We get to play. We actually get to play this here Meticulous Archive, because we can go Meticulous Archive, fetch Bayou, and then we can Bowmasters or Stoneforge as we see fit. Get Shuko. Then we probably play Shuko and Bowmasters in the turn after we Nadu. We'll see. But regardless, it's not a mulligan.
The old Tundra Pass.
Auspicious. I will take advantage of your inaction.
Yeah, I mean, if we haven't said it before, we don't know what we're on. Either of us is on, so I could be on anything, even Jessica.
I could also be on anything. Actually, that's not true. You did tell me that the deck you're playing has not been on the channel before. So I know
That's true. Yeah.
I know for a fact you are not on Jeskai.
Yeah. there's a couple of hints.
Holy
And
Ichor Wellspring.
I think it's broken wide open here.
The jig is up, my friend.
Yeah, it doesn't take a full Sherlock Holmes character to understand where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Decisions.
So many decisions. What could it be? I I do think it'd be funny one of these days for us to play a game like this, and for the person to go like decisions, and then just like slam Flash Hulk, kill on
Yeah,
turn
like,
two.
whatever should I do? Just have Natty Flash Hulk.
Nomads.
I was gonna
Well,
play an innocent little Nomads Encore, you know.
the jig really is up, hey, in more ways than one. Um,
No, I swear it's Jeskai.
it's definitely just guy with nomads. You just like this ragtag crew of soldiers.
It's a great blocker,
Um,
dude.
it's a great blocker. Uh, I think interesting. I kind of want this card still in my hand, but I like don't really have great development options here. I mean, if I do this, then I have one, two, three. I was doing some affinity counting here, you know.
Naturally.
Um,
Natch.
I could just play this thing. No, I think I do need to artifact land cycle this Sojourner's Companion. Let's get the good one.
Strictly better Mirror Enforcer.
It is strictly better.
I think you may be in some amount of trouble.
Do we have just like Natty Nadu on turn 3?
Yeah, of course.
Holy. This is basically the Flash Hulk situation that we were talking about.
Well, to be fair, my opening hand had it turn 4, and then I drew the Nomads.
I see. I think... Can I be 8 looks? I think I could theoretically be 8 looks. But I think if I don't have an answer to this Nadu on this next turn, that's going to be bad.
I don't have Dryad Arbor.
You don't have a 1-drop in hand?
I have Thoughtseize, so I guess I'll Thoughtseize you.
It's okay, because I don't have the removal spell in hand, so it doesn't matter. I'm running it off the top.
I mean, I guess I will make it harder for you. But I have spring. You know I have spring heart and Tuco, so you know you're dead next turn.
Yeah. Interesting. Is there any way for me to get out of this? I don't think I have anything that I can put in the graveyard that matters this turn.
I was trying to
If
think of that briefly with the Emery in your hand, but
no,
I
yeah, I don't.
decided just not to overthink it.
Yeah, I think getting rid of the thought monitor there is best for sure.
Just
Yeah,
like
I think I can concede here. I don't think I have anything.
take away your avenues to draw cards.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that was a good draw from my deck. My opening hand
Yeah.
was Nadu Stoneforge, so I have Stoneforge for Shuko, Bowmasters, and 4 lands. And that's
Hmm.
just a keep all day, every day against every deck in the format.
Yeah. The Bowmasters really ties the room together there.
Exactly, because I don't know what you're on, and so like if my hand had less action, I just try to Bowmasters you on too.
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to talk about this hand. I'm just going to keep it.
yeah, I can also do that.
So the question is, what do I lead with? I think I'm going to lead with this Goldmire Bridge.
Exciting.
It's kind of hype.
I will lead with
Bop?
Bop.
BOP. Let's go with Thundering Falls.
You're 4 color, no green.
Yeah, I kind of want to try out a bunch of different things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you're probably supposed to be Grixis or Jeskai, but if you can pull the 4 color off, the different colors have so many different
It looks
different
like you're
things
like
you
pretty
want to be doing.
value-y, not super aggro.
I'm I think I modeled it after Pauper Affinity in a way. So I'm
Okay.
running a bunch of the cheap spells, or the cheap artifacts like Signal Pest and like Memnite and Ornithopter. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
mostly running them to power out the bigger hitters to start to churn through the deck a little bit. But I do kind of want to be a little more aggressive. Um, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's correct. I said it in my deck tech, I don't really know um exactly what you're supposed to be trying to do, you know?
Yeah. That's where I've struggled the most in building these decks is like
Oh,
there's so many good cards, they just pull you in slightly different directions, and it's hard to tell like cranial plating and Karn are like pretty far apart on the like directional sort of
yeah.
spectrum, but they're both really good cards.
Okay, let's play this Ancient Den, and then we'll. I guess.
I think Karn's pretty underplayed.
Yeah, I think this Karn is really good. I think for a while it might not have been that good because the constructs didn't matter that much, but board presence feels like it matters more and more. Like every game of Highlander I play, basically.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna jam this Cranial Ram.
Yep, that's a good one.
Then we'll play our free Frogmite.
Reasonable. Attack for 0.
Attack for 0 that you can't block is kind of sick, but I think we'll keep our team back for now.
Tough but fair. I'm gonna start with this one.
The Duress taking my Reckoner's Bargain.
Yeah, I mostly just wanted to see what was going on too, but that's a good hit. I'm happy to
Yeah, the Bargain's a pretty solid hit there.
just like make sure you don't have too much going on.
I think it's also possible I'm not supposed to be playing any surveil lands. You know what I mean? Because I'm
A
playing like
bunch of
6
tap
tap
lands
lands.
already.
Yeah,
Like maybe you're supposed to play one, because then it
it's
turns
like
all
two
of your
free.
fetches into a surveil land once at
Yeah,
least. But yeah,
I'm glad you've had the same troubles because I've actually been thinking about Affinity for like 6 months, and I just decided like I'm just gonna play it on the channel, and I'll work out the kinks like as we go. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Emp, okay. Trainer Ram's doing a pretty decent job here.
Yes. Where do I choose your graveyard? I don't want my graveyard. I want your graveyard. Oh, you don't have a... No, you do have a graveyard. Oh, there it is. I see.
Get rid of my Karn.
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
feel like it's probably easier for you to get back your Karn than your Reckoner's Bargain in this deck. Although, I would believe you if you said you
There,
had no ways to get back either of
there
them.
are no ways, as far as I can think of, to get back
Like,
non-artifacts.
I have to believe you have ways to get back artifacts and or creatures, but
Yeah,
I see. That was a good draw.
yeah. Ravager, a pretty good one here. So the question is, do I get in with this Ram? I think I kind of have to, right? Like, I don't think I'm not. I can't get in with the Frogmite. Could always leave that back to block, though. Um, do I have another... What surveillance did I put in? Undercity and Thundering Falls. Okay.
So
Can't
you
be blocked except
drew
by
a
creatures
fetch
with flying or
land.
reach. Let's hit for 8.
I will
Unless
block.
you block.
Get this
Fair enough.
dingus out of here.
Like, this type of game is kind of why Affinity and Lander is like has been entrancing me, you know what I mean? Like, where you just have like a ram or a plating or like something that just accrues you advantage because your opponent like can't really take the hit or can't deal with it in any particular way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is underrated. Like playing stock up in like creature combo decks. Like, I actually think this card is just so good that like it's probably worth playing, even if you're playing a bunch of creatures.
Yeah, I could definitely see it.
Taking 2. That's kind of scary.
You're fine.
The clamp.
But
Give him the clamp.
yeah. I'm going to die pretty quickly here if I can't figure something out. Possible I shouldn't have
Yeah.
put the counter on that Elvish Mystic just to make it more clampable.
Oh yeah, because you might enter a situation where you need to clamp away your board to like deal with the threat.
The Fram, yeah.
Let's fetch this Mesa. What are we grabbing? Volcanic, I guess? Yeah. I can't tell if I mean I'm just gonna slam with Ram. I don't even know why I'm thinking that hard.
Yeah, I think you're largely obligated to do so. This card seems pretty solid.
I think Surveil tacked on to like threats is really good. And Affinity, like, in my experience, kind of has a problem sometimes where your threats like are big, but you actually can't get through, you know?
Yeah.
The double
Thankfully.
blue is on the Valkyrie air unit, I think is like the thing that keeps it from uh like feeling really awesome, you know? Especially in this 4-color deck. I am playing like a bunch of the spheres and stuff to try
Mm-hmm.
and like wash out some of the mana issues, but
Yeah, like here, I really wish I had not put a counter on my Elvish Mystic.
yeah, because it's time for you to go digging.
Yeah, it was certainly a blunder. This is awkward. If you have a removal spell this way, I'm toast, but like, I'm just dead anyways. Yeah, I was just dead anyways. Alright, yeah. I needed to clamp my birds. That was bad. I didn't do math. I'm probably just dead to Ravager there, no matter what I do. But there I just kept like a value hand, and maybe I just can't keep those hands in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't draw
Uh,
especially well, but
I will say the previous hand felt pretty bad. Like I kept a hand with a bunch of high mana value kind of things.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna def
We get to keep this one. We have Thoughtseize turn 1. We have Bill plus Clamp, and if and when we draw a blue source, our hand does some pretty powerful things. So I think it'll work out. Less fair than our previous hand, which is I think the role we need to assume here. It's good to test hands like that last one out though, especially if you don't know the matchup very well, just to sort of get a feeling on the range of hands that are acceptable. And it's not to say that necessarily keeping that last hand was wrong, but it definitely didn't feel right. And realistically, in this format, you're not going to get enough reps to sort of mathematically know what is and isn't right. So you just need to sort of limit test and use feelings and your judgment in terms of what hands are and are not keepable.
All right, I'm back.
Excellent.
All right, let's see what you're cooking up.
No. Let's see what you're cooking up.
The hand's not
Excellent.
great, which is also kind of one of the things I was thinking about with artifacts is the juice worth the squeeze, you know? Like
Yeah. This
that
is
last game seemed really
interesting.
good, but
I'm like, so there's no world I'm taking Spellskite. I'm either taking Bombardiers, which buys me probably a ton of time, or Thoughtcast, which, like, if I take the Thoughtcast, then you just don't draw, like, pretty good from this point. I feel like I've already won. Yeah. When I put it like that, I think I just gotta take the Thoughtcast, but.
yeah, I put a Deadly Dispute on the bottom, which I felt was correct because I like need the spellscape for artifact count to get to my Thoughtcast faster.
Yeah.
Um, that's like kind of how it felt anyways. Let's go for this delta here.
Yeah, and then you at least get to get a Surveil. Or you drew a 1-drop, maybe.
I drew a wand drop. Let's get the underground sea.
That's fine.
Yeah, long gone are the days where you're that scared of the signal pest.
Yeah.
For those watching at home, which is all of you. Well, maybe not all of you, but if you look at Signal Pest's art, I always thought his claw was his mouth, but it's not. It's like a big claw, and the actual mouth is like there's a head below what looks to be the head and the mouth.
Yeah.
Just a surveil into a skull clamp for Jer. Okay, so Jer kept something a little slower. Um,
Potentially.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna, like, slate to be aggressive here. I don't know if I have much else. I should have attacked you for 0, though. That was definitely a blunder.
Yeah, I think this is better.
Wait, don't F6. No, 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 no. Stop.
Why?
Stop. Because I can
Oh
I
yeah, you
can
can
spell Skype
redirect
this
the
to my
counter.
creature, yeah.
That is true.
And I definitely want to do that. Um
Yeah, potentially good.
Clamp.
Clamp.
I see. Jer has a plan.
Maybe.
Wow, that was a great draw.
You don't like to hear that.
Okay, I wouldn't say great, but it's definitely good. I
Is
guess
it?
the question is, do I want to just kill this bill when I attack? I don't think I really need to. Like, if you block with your spell skite, I'm pretty happy. Or if you block my spell skite, I'm pretty happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
I
my
think
last turn was not the best.
I think for me here, if you don't block, then maybe I'm supposed to kill your bill before Caracas is untapped.
Definitely not blocking. Chump blocking your spells guide doesn't seem especially good. I'm gonna force you to sack a land or your signal pest.
I guess another question is, do I even care about this bill, right? Like, maybe I just go to the dome?
That doesn't seem good. But
No, that seems kind of bad.
this I've been lower on bombardiers recently because I've just gotten like into more and more of these board states where like I just never want to sack anything because everything is so relevant.
Yeah, like I want my land because if I draw spells, I'm gonna need it.
Yeah.
Like,
And even your signal pest is relevant. Like it's getting an extra damage. If you draw like a plating or something, it's good.
yeah, I
Like,
think I'm actually just gonna pass. I don't know if I care about the bill that much.
yep. Tough but fair. Um,
Tough call to make though, because it's my like only chance to kill it, right? Or could be
yeah,
my only chance.
potentially.
Preordain.
Um,
Oh, okay. The Nantuko's pretty good.
it is not the worst.
Okay, so I let this Nantuko ability resolve first. Then I take the Bristly Bill ability.
Your spell's guide is unfortunately lining up quite well against my plans, but
Yeah, I think generally speaking in this matchup, it's not exactly where I want to be.
trying to decide if I'm clamping or not clamping. I think I am not clamping because then I can block your bombardiers, which is a thing I think I need to do.
Yeah, threatening double block on Bombardiers seems pretty important right now.
Yeah.
Um okay, let's play this. Get
No,
Undra.
one of your two cards is a land.
Okay, so if you block my Bombardiers, you can chump my Spellskite. And then I'd hit you for 2. My Bombardiers dies.
Why would I ever chump your Spellskite?
No, you're right. Okay. Let's animate this Blink Moss here.
Sure.
I'm gonna play this Emissary pre-combat. I might be missing something. I might want this permanent to sacrifice the Bombardiers.
Tough but fair. Just cramming, eh?
I think I'm kind of in the just cramming space here.
Interesting. So I need to triple block if I want to kill the Bombardiers for sure. Then I would take 5 before damage. You could sack the Emissary to put me to 2. Then I would most likely die on your turn. But yeah, I think this is just where we have to be in order to win.
It's funny because you just lined out where I also think I have to be, which is I think I should sacrifice this Emissary, so... The battle cry pretty important here. I get to kill all 3 of your creatures.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. Well, that was a good draw.
Was it Nadu Nomads?
Nope.
Oh, it was better. I see.
It was much more better.
Wait a minute. Don't tell me.
You're almost dead anyways. Got him! Best
Wow.
wizard always wins.
I don't even know what to say to this, if I'm being honest.
my hand was Spellseeker Tainted Pact, so you were like not especially far from dying, and I was not dead. But
yeah. It
was obviously better to just draw the Thoracle off the Skull Clamp. I'm not gonna say that that's not true.
I think that match showed that there is potential for this affinity deck, because like it was interesting. Once the deck switched gears, it was really fast.
Yeah, and so like I'll talk about it more, but like I don't know like what sort of the thing I struggle with the most is what sort of value I want. Like some cards like Deadly Dispute, Thoughtcast, etc. I think are too good not to play, and they are like obviously value cards as opposed to like beatdown cards. And that, but I think you need the velocity, but I'm not sure you want cards like Karn. Is like where I got to, and I was playing some like big chungus-y like 6 mana Urzas and stuff, and I don't think you want those either. Like I think you want to be beat down like with velocity as opposed to like all in beat down or like really omega value, but I haven't played it enough to be certain. But
yeah, that's kind of where I was at as well. Like one of the things that always impressed me about Pauper Affinity was the like turning point, you know, like the TSN turning point as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you sometimes you would be behind, but all of a sudden you would just like completely turn the corner, and then like your opponent's dead in like 2 turns. And
yeah,
I think
because like if you get to the point in the game where you have 4 artifact lands in play and you're not dead, you could just go like Thoughtcast into Deadly Dispute into 3 creatures plus a Blood Fountain, and then you're like just massively winning. And like
yeah,
this
totally.
deck feels at least semi-capable of doing similar things, and like the damage output is potential is very high too. So
yeah, like, and you also have like mini combos in the deck. Like obviously if you're Deadly Disputing your like Ichor Wellsprings, you know,
well, and
you're
Bombardiers. Wellsprings. Like I think Bombardiers is much better in your deck than in most decks I've played it in recently, but I've been considering cutting it from black red because
Yeah, I think
like
I think that
I've
makes a lot of
I've
sense.
found I don't have things I want to sack. I don't especially like my deck my build of black red is not especially aggressive. Whereas like gut I'm never cutting because like
Because
4/1
it wins the game
menaces
on its
a
own.
never ending stream of 4/1 menaces just like is so likely to win the game. And
Oh, I didn't even put gut in this deck. I think this is like the one of the gut
it's an
decks though.
insane gut deck
Like
for sure. Like imagine if
yeah.
you curve Wellspring into gut. Like
Yeah, you're like actually laughing like you're
yeah.
like
Well,
an
and like
evil villain.
think of all the times you get to attack with Signal Pest. Your Signal Pest isn't gonna die, and you get a gut activation. Like
Yeah, that's a big
that's
deal too.
that's
And if you
nuts.
stack the triggers, you can hit them for 5, which is like the difference between 4 and 5, depending on what stage of the game you're in, is like night and day a
Well, and
lot of
you
the
have
time.
derpy things like Blink Moth Nexus that you can upgrade later. You can sack artifact lands to turn them into Zambos. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's kind of the appeal of this deck is it I think you're right. I don't think you can lean too hyper aggressive or like too far on the other end of the spectrum where you're too controlling. I think the appeal to this deck is you like have games where you are controlling until you aren't, and you have games where you're aggressive until you aren't, right? And like being able to navigate those games, I think is and know when you're supposed to like flip the switch on your game plan, I think is something that could be really rewarding, like in terms of playing this archetype.
yeah, and
Uh,
I think it's harder to sort of toe the line in Highlander than it is in four ofs. That's why I was saying I think you want to be like more in the aggressive space, but
mhm.
with like the velocity cards, like that get you card advantage, like all the casts, the all the deadly disputes, the reckoner's bargains, like play all of those things, but don't play like as many of the like expensive engines. But
Yeah, like
yeah,
I'm not actually playing like Simulacrum Synthesizer, for example, because I was looking at the deck and I was thinking to myself like, yeah, I mean, if I live the dream, it's obviously incredible, but I only have
mm-hmm.
like 10 cards that cost 3 or more,
What
like
are your
including
points
the
in the
affinity
deck?
cards. So I'm playing 9 actually. I'm playing Mana Vault, Urza's Saga, Tolarian Academy, and Double Mox. I thought about playing Ancient Tomb for my 10th point, but I decided against it because I'm playing this 4-color version, and I think it's like maybe a little too greedy on the mana base. Um,
Yeah,
but I think there's worlds where you maybe want to play like Mox Mana Crypt, Tolarian Academy Saga, or like
Saga
Double
seems
Mox.
great in this deck.
Yeah, I don't think Saga's really that cuttable. I could potentially see cutting Academy depending on how
Yeah,
much the
and
mana
like
matters.
to me, if you think Ancient Tomb isn't worth a point, why are you spending a point on Mana Vault?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I thought
But
Mana Vault was like a little bit different because like having that artifact in play felt a little more substantial, you know. But I can totally see your point. It's
yeah,
possible that the you're supposed to play triple Mox plus Urza's Saga and just say like I want as many fast broken Mox hands as I can get,
that
and like
that
maybe you're
was
supposed to even play Mox Diamond. Like
my
I'm not playing
instinct.
Diamond right now, but
And yeah, I might play Mox Diamond in this deck just because, yeah, the artifact matters a lot, but it would depend on your land count. But, like, that's something that, like, the velocity cards potentially allow you to do. But,
yeah, like Mox Diamond becomes considerably better if you're playing all of those like velocity draw spell cards, right?
and they also
Um
allow you to, like, bail out of it later on if you have too many mana sources. You can always sack it to a deadly dispute later and
mhm.
cash it in for some cards.
Some crads. I did originally go Grixis with this, but I like was thinking about white and looking at the white cards and like I'm really entranced by the idea that you have like like two effective sword splashers and then Path to Exile as like ways to remove what is relevant to you, as well as being able to play Stoneforge Mystic, um, like being able
Mm-hmm.
to grab cranial ram or cranial plating, felt really natural to me, which is why at the beginning I talked about like maybe you're supposed to be Jeskai or Grixis.
I also
Um,
think there's a world where you could be Mardu too,
yeah, like
but
cutting blue, and you just like focus less on the blue draw spells and focus more on
the
the like
black
Deadly
ones
Dispute
you can play
clones.
some red like rummagey ones, and then you're just like more aggressive. But yeah, it's really interesting, and I think it's a relatively underexplored space in Canadian Highlander for the most part. Not to say people don't do it. There are definitely scraps and BattleBots decks that people work on, but it doesn't feel like there's sort of as much consensus as there are on those lists on a lot of other archetypes. So I'm excited
Yeah,
to
I
see
agree. I
where you
also
get
like
to.
personally I haven't seen a list that feels closer to what we're talking about, where like your deck has that switch that it flips on and off between aggression and
Yeah, it kind
like
of has like
velocity.
more staying power.
Like BattleBots, when I think of that deck, I think of a deck that is like always slanted to be aggressive, right? Or like generally speaking, is a deck that's pretty aggressive that does sometimes have access to like velocity spells, but for the most part is just trying to like get creatures down as quick as possible and then like leverage that mana advantage, right? And that those decks are playing things like Mishra's Workshop, um, to really like leverage how much like explosive mana you can have in artifact decks.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this deck, like I'm not even playing Mishras, and like that's something that I could theoretically be playing, but I felt like I that isn't exactly where I wanted to be. Like I wanted to have some aggressive starts and some aggression, and I am leaning more towards aggression. But interesting, I didn't think about it beforehand, but I do think I built a deck closer to what you're talking about, where like it's aggressive leaning, but does have like velocity in it as well. I think there's like also an interesting decision point where like do you just play the raw like actual affinity cards like Frogmite for example is pretty underwhelming. Like two is even a zero mana 2/2 is like actually not that impactful in a lot of games, right? But do you need that to bridge yourself to the bigger affinity spells, or do you need it because if you have an emissary escort out, you want it to be like a 2 mana 4/4? But I mean, like, then again, do you even want to play emissary escort like just as a potential big beater, but like that isn't even necessarily as good as say like a Tarmogoyf is in green decks, right? So I think there's like a very interesting like fine line of balance that you have to consider when you're looking at affinity and Highlander in a way that like you wouldn't have had to consider 10 years ago, you know? Like if you were building affinity 10 years ago, I think often you could probably just look at what are the best artifacts in the game and then like play a deck that was full of those like types of artifacts. But since then, we've actually seen like a pretty big uptick in artifact cards that like show that they have the potential to exist in this home.
Well, they go in a bunch of different directions too, as we've spoke. So now you have to think more consciously of like which sort of advantages are you trying to most focus on, and then sort of hone in on the cards that support those.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah. Thanks
this
for the
was
games.
those are really cool games. This is a really great discussion. If you like the content that we bring to the table, feel free to like the video and subscribe to see more. And then we also love to interact in the comments. So if you have thoughts or feelings about affinity in Canadian Highlander, feel free to leave a comment, and we will definitely see it. And as always, thanks for watching.